We have a follower submission for you. This one is, will I be the astronaut for telling stepmom to back off? Story. I have been hesitant about submitting this story because I feel like I might just be the asshole and overreacting, but I love your input and stories and would love to hear what you have to say, so here it goes. Would I be the astronaut for telling my child's stepmom to back off and let me parent when I am present? Backstory. For the past several years, my ex and I and step-parents would attend appointments, parent-teacher conferences, activities, etc. for my child together. Anytime we do, my husband takes a step back and allows my ex to be a dad in these moments and to be the one to talk, ask questions, parent our child, and do what dads do. Stepmom does not do the same. She talks over me to answer questions or give input on situations, and even interfered when I was scheduling an appointment to schedule it herself for a different day. One time, my child had to be given a vaccine and was upset and afraid. I started talking to my child when, what do you know, stepmom calls my child over to her so she could talk to her instead. I was on a phone call with my child when we were saying goodbye, and my child became upset and didn't want me to hang up the phone. Next thing I know, stepmom could be heard in the background telling my child to hang up the phone and go snuggle with her. After that phone call, I emailed my ex to tell him I did not appreciate what happened and I don't want it happening again, in much nicer terms to keep tension low. He tells me he is sorry that I didn't like what happened, but next time I need to hurry to wrap up the phone so they don't have to interfere. There's a sign. My ex and stepmom also told my child to call me by my first name rather than mom. Okay, there's another one. I immediately shut that down and told them that was unacceptable. When that happened, they decided that it was disrespectful for my child to call stepmom by her first name also. My ex frequently tells me that stepmom should be allowed every right I have because she is our child's stepmom and it's no big deal. I'm gonna run out of red flags tonight. Stepmom also gets upset when I volunteer in my child's classroom because it doesn't allow her to do so. I've been picking my battles the last few years because there's been a lot of tension and arguments between my ex and I don't want it affecting my child. I bite my tongue on things to avoid adding more arguments. However, I think I may have been too passive and allowed things to go too far. So my question is, would I be the astronaut to tell stepmom that when we are together at events, she needs to take a back seat and allow me to be mom and stop interrupting me or interfering with my scheduling appointments or parenting my child? Candy Thunder left us some notes. Felt strongly enough about it to leave her thoughts here. Candy Thunder's notes: if there's one place that you have to grow a backbone and stand up for yourself, it is as your kid's mother. You have to stand up for yourself. You have to stand up for your kids. As a stepmom, I would never step on a mother's toes in that way. It is simply not my place. I am sorry you are going through this, but I think you need to make doctor's appointments, parent-teacher conferences, etc. just you and your child's dad. Do not include bonus parents. As a parent/guardian, you have the right to decide who is invited into the room. Which leads to a whole nother discussion here. If, and this is a big if, but if you create a boundary, if you draw a line in the sand and you say this shall not be passed, this is how it will be moving forward, I'm making an assumption here that the parenting plan for your child is between you and your ex, not you and your ex and stepmom. You can get legal here if you need to. So when you create these boundaries, if they're not respected, there may be some kind of legal recourse in here because stepmom has no legal role as a parent or guardian to your child. I think. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving legal advice. However, I do think that if you try to create this boundary and it is met with resistance, that you may be able to consult with an attorney and have some reinforcement there. It is... Depending on how long this has been going on, I understand the sentiment that you think you may have been too passive over time. And yes, you probably have, because they think this is okay. And even when you did speak up about it, they're like, I'm sorry you didn't like that, but next time do things different so you don't have to deal with that. No, that is not the solution here at all. She's clearly stepped on your toes. She's clearly gone too far. She's clearly made your child uncomfortable. The ship needs to be righted here. And if dad isn't willing to get on board and do that, you can pull in reinforcements as you need to. It depends on the agreement, but you're in a situation here where one parent is giving into a system that does not allow frequent and meaningful contact with another parent. It seeks to destroy that. And if anything else, this could be grounds for a change in custody. For a change in the parenting plan. I mean, it could be that serious. You could have that to threaten if this system is not followed. It's horseshit what she's trying to do. It is malicious. This is not an accident. This is not her just wanting to be a good parent to your kid. That's not what this is. This is a competition for her. This is completely selfishly driven for her. This does not come from a good place. And you have to do something about it. Otherwise, given the current trajectory, she's going to continue driving a wedge in between you and your child. And if you don't speak up at some point, you're going to be like, damn, it's too late. We don't like that you call mom. Oh, your mom's still on the phone. Hang up that phone and come cuddle with me, sweetie. Just rubbing it in your face the whole time. Garbage. This is a follower submission again. So OP, God, the internal struggle that you've been dealing with this whole time this is poison. You know what I mean? Like this has been a poison that's building inside of you to this point, and you have to get that poison out. You have to, because this is going to drive you insane, and it's going to cause all kinds of other problems. You have to put a stop to it. You're slowly just getting poisoned over time by drinking little bits of it, but you got to stop. It's unfortunate when you find yourself in those kind of situations. I mean, if for no other reason than the health and welfare of the children, about doctor visits, school problems. If for no other reason, you got to be able to communicate about those kind of things. You don't have to be friends. You don't have to be besties. You don't have to even like each other, but you have to be able to civilly communicate about your kids. I mean, there's got to be confusion with the kid here, because at dad's, the kid is being told not to call mom, but to call stepmom mom. There's, if nothing else, confusion and an altering of the perceived relationship with mom and with dad. I'm sure you can get through and parent in a blended family without having that civil communication if you have to, but it is so much easier when it's there. When everybody can act like a grown-up, it is so much easier. This is completely selfishly motivated. It is not her trying to do the right thing for the kid. It is her wanting the fulfillment of all the positive things that come along with being mom. When it comes to having to deal with all the negative or difficult things that come along with being a mom, I bet she's not so quick to want the title. Tell you that for free. They could be grooming her for a grab for sole custody and trying to plant the seeds for it. And then by that point, whenever that point is, if they're playing the long game, they're hoping to have established that the child here, calls stepmom mom anyway, goes to stepmom for comfort, treats her like the mom, and now has detached from bio mom. I could see it. I mean, that's maniacal, but I could see it. Dad gets the AskCon one, probably also the Brozo Award here for going along with this shit. I'm sure at her direction and at her insistence, but for allowing this to happen for selfish drivers, not for the best thing for his kid. He's an AskCon one too.